you see systematically an outrage in a particular community that's been disenfranchised with gun violence, and they want to do something. And the homicide is the most tragic effect of what is the real issue in the community.
By being silent, you're not using a voice that other people don't have. And I think that that's like been a really big thing for me in activism, is like being a voice for people who either their voice has been silenced or don't like have the access to using their voice.
I would say just keep going. Understand that there are so many of you in the school, and that if you want change, like you can do it. I wouldn't lose faith in the fact that when the students are united, they can create powerful movements.
He could just light up the room with a smile. His nickname was Baby Cakes. And, he's this big boy, almost 6 feet tall. And I said, well, maybe one day if I call you Baby Cakes in front of your friends, you could get mad at me and you're not going to want to talk to me. He said, Mom, I love you. You could call me Baby Cakes anytime. He said, I don't care what they say. He's like, I'll beat them up. But I miss him so much. Sometimes I just don't want to remember. He had just got off the plane from San Diego. My sister had picked him up. It was supposed to be a surprise. I didn't know he was in town. He had came home early, and he was at my mother's house. They had problems with violence. I know that he was standing outside with a bunch of kids at my mother's house. A black car drove by and shot into the crowd, and Justin was the only one that was hit, and he was pronounced dead at the hospital. It was 300 yards from Evanston Township High School. I never got to see him. I never saw Justin. The last time I saw him was when I dropped him off at the airport to go to California for school. I hugged him and I kissed him. Told him I love him. He told me he loved me. He smiled and walked away.
What I've said tonight matters little if we don't come together to protect our most precious resource, our children.
I felt like standing up was my way of standing up for Justin. I feel like I failed him as a mother because I couldn't protect him. So for the rest of my life, I have to advocate for gun violence to protect him.
his friends, they loved him. They were family. They weren't just friends. They were his family. When he began to get in high school, he wanted to play basketball, football, and he ran track. I had just got the letter in the mail after it happened that he was offered a scholarship to attend this college, a football scholarship. So he was just very excited about his future. They wouldn't allow me to do CPR. They wouldn't let me get near him. He was still alive, and they just actually let him lay in the alley and die. And that's what happened. They just let him lay there and die. And I probably could have sued or tried to sue, but it wasn't worth my time because nothing was going to bring my son back, no amount of money.
As much as family members want to see somebody, see their loved one, check on them, which is completely understandable. We have to maintain that scene. Paramedics will stage by the scene until they're told that it's safe enough for them to come in. This would take 10, 15 minutes, it's a matter of minutes. That alley itself, behind in the 1700 block of Dodge, with the police cars and the police response and securing of the scene, would not have facilitated an ambulance getting any closer than Dodge Avenue or Brown Avenue.
When they took my son away from me, they took a part of me too. So, I'll never be the same, even though I tried to do something positive from the outcome of this situation.
I was there when she was born. I was the first person that she saw. One thing I remember about her is the way she cried. She cried like she was in pain, and it kind of made me cry. I remember walking into the studio and just looking at Kaylin and that they have two people working on her, and somebody doing her hair, the one's fixing her clothes, and I just looked at her like, who do you think you are? And she just looked at me with a smile on her face, and I just looked at her and just like, this girl, I swear, nothing's stopping her, nothing's ever gonna stop her. And I just started asking myself, is she dead? If she dead, just tell me, just tell me right now. I got a ride from out here. I had to go all the way to the south side. I had to stop and get me a pack of cigarettes. I hadn't smoked in 20 years. I just had to have a pack of cigarettes. I smoked the whole pack, that long ride there. We got to the hospital and came in. She's just laying there. She's laying there. She was gone. She was gone. I grabbed her and I hugged her and I kissed her and I told her that I was sorry that I couldn't protect her from this type of stuff. And they told me that I passed out right after that. Getting used to her not being around has been very difficult because it's quiet all the time, it's just so quiet, and I'm not used to that. It just should not happen, it just should not happen. What are we supposed to do? We want to be able to feel safe. That's the last thing that we should have to worry about. Yeah, we have guns here in this country. Yes, we have too many freaking guns in this country.
Growing up, my peers and I witnessed Deja Coleman be shot and killed. More recently, Kaylin Pryor.
Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook, Columbine, Las Vegas, Orlando, Sutherland Springs, Stoneman Douglas, and so many more. Our voices rang out for the 3,457 shooting victims in Chicago last year alone. Our voices ring out for Deja Coleman.
Essentially, when we first heard that there was going to be a walkout a month after Parkland, our biggest fear was that nobody at ETHS would do anything about it. Myself and the previous student representative, Emma Stein, we kind of just decided that if the student union didn't do anything now, then we were afraid that nothing was going to happen.
The catalyst for the walkout was a mass shooting, but in hindsight, it should have been losing members of our community, in our community.
After the Parkland event, that garnered a lot of attention, but noticing also that gun violence has affected so many different communities in a lot of different ways, and some are noticed more so than others, which is really challenging.
My cousin was shot in the winter of 2018. His living situation has changed, his schooling has changed, his perspective on life has changed, and talking to him about what that means for him of being so close to death through no fault of his own, through literally sitting in a car that was in a quote-unquote bad neighborhood, and just there at the wrong time, in the wrong place, has just changed his life and therefore my life and my family's life forever. It's not just people in Parkland, it's Deja, and it's my cousin, and it's Yaquez, and it's all of these people who I am so close to and I do care about, not only because I'm near them, but because they matter and they affect people that I care about and that I love, and that I don't want to see that happen more, I guess. I want people who care about what's happening around the corner, not across the country.
I remember reading, I think it was a daily article, where it's Yaquez Seamark. I was oh, I recognize that name. And it was because I knew his mother. And that hurt. What was national became very personal very quickly.
On an event that we did recently in regards to art and activism, his mom was present at the event, and after hearing some of our spoken word artists kind of speak about their experiences in their own form of activism, she was just really touched and gave me a hug and was kind of just thank you for doing this, because she's still working through the traumas of losing her son.
Especially the African American community, we don't get acknowledged for the efforts that we try to make to better our community. When another organization comes in that doesn't necessarily look like us, when they come in, that's where the movie cameras come in, the media comes in. But we have systematically tried to do programs and tried to get funding or try to get resources for things that we've come up with dealing with the problems ourselves, and we don't get acknowledged for it. But the gun buyback came out of that resource that I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Alderman Fisk. Alderman Braithwaite. Alderman Nguyen.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Holmes.
Aye.
9-0.
9-0. The motion passes. Alderman.
What I would tell a parent is to focus on the good things, because you'll never get justice. Focus on the good things that your child would have loved to do. Help another child achieve his or her dream. So that's what keeps me going.
Don't do anything to hurt yourself. Day by day, take your time. It's one of those things. I don't think it ever goes away. I wish that it would, but it just don't. It just don't. It's always there. It just gets just a little bit easier to deal with, you know. Just kind of gotta get used to it. I would think about it all day long, and just really kind of getting to a point where I can just get through the day without crying.
You have to find a way to live. You can't listen to the grief. I think it has gotten more livable. I think that I have some really, really good days, and I have some really, really bad days. Someone once said to me, I have a really sad story. Well, you could never tell me a really, really sad story. But I will say this, it's a dark hole that can take me, but I refuse to go.